Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the NLG show on this great Sunday night. I don't know how many people we're going to get since WrestleMania is on, but we'll take what we can get this evening. So, you can't, WrestleMania is a special thing. I don't know why we decided to do this. So, and I think...
No. WrestleMania was a special thing. Those years are long gone.
I would agree with you, except we're missing a cast member because of it. So
he's young. He doesn't know any better.
This is true. No. This is actually true. I agree with that. So that's all right, man. I've got my stalwart crew here, the ones who are not at Great Wolf Lodge or watching WrestleMania, and our very special guest for this evening. I'd like to introduce. See Frankie, he knows which side he's on. So would like to introduce from the inner circle. He is a great friend of ours, and it's a pleasure to have him on, Mr. Nicholas Downie, Undead, 3XVI from Tick. What's up, brother?
Oh, not a whole lot. Thanks for having me on. Been watching the show for a very, very, very long time. So good to finally be on.
I know.
Great to have you.
And I was on with you on your channel was it a month ago, I think.
Yeah, a month or two ago. Yeah, the 45-minute interview that turned into a 3-hour show. Yeah.
So
it's fine. Peter warned me about it, so
that's
I knew
all right.
in advance.
They apparently did not warn the Iron Lords, though. No, I'm just saying.
I forgot to warn Cognito. That was my bad.
That was fun. By the way, I want to give a quick shout out to those guys. So last week, which was Easter weekend, on Easter Sunday, the Iron Lords welcomed me into the realm, and the two kingdoms of Iron Lords and NLG signed our long-term friendship treaty, and we talked some great games. And I got to tell you, they made me feel extremely inferior as a show host. I mean, oh my god,
Cognito makes anyone feel.
Oh my god, Cognito, man! By the time he was done introducing me, I was like, you could see me turning around and look and go, "Who is he talking about?" Because it's not me. I mean, he made me out to be a rock star, and I have to give him a big shout out. Those are a great bunch of guys. Him, Sovereign, only got to talk to Addict for a couple of minutes before he had to roll, and of course the King. And they're at PAX East, winding up PAX East, so I'm looking forward to their next show when they start talking about what they saw and everything. But I want to give a great big shout out to the Iron Lords, because those are some really great guys, and it was an absolute pleasure being on with them last week. So we're going to get them on here very, very soon. But tell us about what you do over at Tick, and I'm going to slide you over just a little bit. I do these little on the fly background camera stuff. Tell us a little bit about what you got going on at Tick, what you do, and your other channel that you're doing your shows on.
Well, mainly, I do writing, reviews, everything else. I've kicked that into high gear over the past month or so. Me and Samuel Tolbert do a lot of work together. Been a part of the Multiverse show now with Anchorman for almost over a year now, too, which has been great. And, yeah, I do my own podcast, The Gaming Perspective, on my own channel, which is kicking itself into gear now. And got some cool stuff lined up for that in the next couple of weeks, hopefully, if everything pans out.
No, yeah, and so tell us about the show that you do on your private channel.
Oh, The Gaming Perspective.
Yeah.
It's basically I watch a lot of different podcasts because I've been in various parts of the community over my 3-year tenure on Twitter. God, why the hell have I been part of that website for 3 years? It's beyond me. And I've watched a bunch of different shows, and there's some shows that do things differently, but there's a lot of shows that I feel are very copy and paste from other shows. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to get a good couple of like moderately reasonable people together and attack a game per show, basically. So like last episode, we did 3 games of the generation, our top 3 games of the generation. Next week we've got Hellblade. Then of course we've got God of War on the 21st. But yeah, we just tackle it game by game. It's just a mutual respect of everyone having different opinions and everything else, and getting different people on there, whether it's industry people or people from the community. And yeah, it's just a good old time. Something for me to do to unwind on a Saturday night where it's just fun.
And I was honored to be one of your first interviews on that channel, and I was absolutely honored and thrilled, and we had a great 45 3-hour session.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's funny too because with a couple.
Hello.
Oh,
does it have to be 3 hours? I'm like, hold on, my Skype dropping on me.
Just a little bit.
Mine was doing that the other night.
My laptop's RAM is horrible, so it hates Skype with a passion. But yeah, no, a lot of people asking me going forward, they're like, are the episodes always 3 hours? I'm like, not usually, no.
It's the curse. It's my curse.
Mr. 3-hour tour.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, I'm not going to be doing a whole lot of talking tonight, so we'll be an hour. Don't worry, because I know we actually have a hard stop this evening, and I know we were running late. The running late was my fault. I have one last contractual obligation on something I'm actually getting paid to do, so I didn't get here until 9 o'clock. So I couldn't turn down money. Money equals games. So
right.
Yep. And there's a lot of them. So
all right. So Peter is out at Great Wolf Lodge again, doing the family thing, and even though he was on Skype, I did not want to disturb him. And the internet there is horrible because I go to the same Great Wolf Lodge he does, and I am well aware. So, and Nathan's watching WrestleMania, so you know I know this is how much he cares about us. He's watching WrestleMania. So,
I think last time I watched WrestleMania, I think I was 13.
Yeah.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, I haven't been in wrestling for years. And
yeah, whatever floats people's boat. I think the last time I did, though, was I think Hacksaw Jim Duggan was still a thing.
Yeah, he just got inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Awesome.
So
nice.
All right. So Juan and Frankie, though, they are holding up the fort for us this evening. How you doing, Juan?
Great.
So not tonight, but at some point, I want to see if we can take some Windex and clean your lens. You look like you have Vaseline smeared on your camera.
I do.
What?
Okay, there you go.
It's my own version of a soft filter.
It's very nice. I like it.
Because nobody wants to see me wants to see me in HD. So
Stop.
So yeah, no, good. Tired. Woke up early today, get some housework done so that I could host some tabletop gaming. Did that for hours. Also, got a chance to show the X on 4K HDR to a buddy who hadn't seen it yet, and loaded a bunch of games. Blew his mind a little bit with Doom. He wouldn't want to admit it because he's kind of a closet Sony fan, but that's cool. And yeah, no, it's all good. Been playing a lot of games, and that is what so I'm going to leave it.
Awesome. And Frankie, how you doing tonight, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good.
You're not watching WrestleMania. Yo!
Got my wedding band.
Oh, nice. Wonderful.
So even though we're not married yet, now I just have to tell people I am because.
Well, right. Well, because the line goes out the door, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Right.
Exactly. So you have to ward them off with the ring.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah,
so
nice.
But yeah, that just more Monster Hunter for me this week. The Spring Blossom Fest is going, so all the events most of the events that they've been running are all live at the same time. So that's your opportunity to get the crowns. So Bender and I have been trying to chip away at some of those here and there when possible.
Nice.
But yeah, so.
Well,
one ring to rule you all.
That's exactly
what I said.
Yeah, there's one ring to keep us at home.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even got one. I stay at home, so there you go.
Yep.
Well,
same though.
Yes, but we've met your lady, and she's awesome. So I would have. Yeah, you're staying by choice, right? by clear choice. So, all right. Here's how we're going to do this. We're going to take a few minutes and go over some news. We're going to try to do this quickly because I want to get to the game stuff. I want to concentrate on some of the new, the new things that we're doing here. So, first and foremost, the big news of the week. Where are we here? I'm in the wrong place. This is what happens when you only have 5 minutes to set up. What do you do? Oh, I really didn't mean for you to like me. Come on, where are you? Videos. All right, I stole this from Game Informer. That's fine. They get a free plug. There you go. Spider-Man.
Spider-Man more than you've ever done before.
I'll turn him down, though.
It's all about...
So, Spider-Man, September. Everything's coming up September, October these days. Is there any...
Well, nothing wants to be up against, Marston and crew.
This is true. If this keeps up, that's going to be the only game that launches in November. Although I know Sam and I were discussing this yesterday on the during the Tick podcast. I still think Battlefield's November. I think Battlefield realizes Call of Duty's out of the way, and now they got a shot.
Right. Could be.
So,
I'm still getting a kick out of the fact if Rockstar goes, hey, you know what? Red Dead's ready early. We're going to put it right in September. Everyone's going to shuffle their games around. Or they'll delay it again into spring. And then everyone's
chaos.
done.
They did not.
Cats and dogs living together. Total anarchy.
They could do it. They could do it. So with Spider-Man, September's a good time. And I think that's going to make a couple other folks shuffle around because I'm going to find a picture of Spidey without. Unfortunately, it's just going to say Game Informer. This is a big game to launch. Surprisingly, not with a movie, not a movie tie-in. And as I was watching that video, I thought one thing: Spider-Man Overdrive. Like that almost hits that traversal. And they kind of said as much. We took what we've learned from other games and we put it into Spider-Man, and you can see it. That's a lot of neat web slinging and moving and stuff. I'm just hoping that you can actually stop, and when you don't stop, you die. You stop, you don't die. Like the floor is not made of lava, for real, like Sunset Overdrive was, more or less. But September 7th, what do you guys think?
It'll be huge. It looks great. It's Insomniac, how can you go wrong with them? So yeah, I mean it's gonna be pretty massive. The traversal looks really awesome. The combat looks okay, but it kind of looks like maybe it's a little autopilot-ish. Like you do something and then you enter command and it looks like it plays out kind of some on its own a little bit how things happen. But no, I think it'll be just fine.
Oh yeah, it's a day one for me. I know that. But Frankie, are you? Frankie?
Sorry.
That's all right.
John's telling me a story about sugar. I just saw this giant wrapper and didn't know what the hell was going on.
Alrighty, giant wrapper. So,
Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I'm actually very, very excited about it. I typically enjoy Spider-Man games. I know, people are kind of wishy-washy on some of the Activision ones, but I think like Shattered Dimensions I thought was really cool. Edge of Time was pretty fun. So, I don't know. I personally have always enjoyed Spider-Man games, but Insomniac is one of my favorite developers. I've been a fan of them since Spyro, which I'm sure we'll talk about in a little bit here. But they've always put out some really great games. So I'm excited. You got Spider-Man and Insomniac. That's a winning combination for me. Comes out on a Friday. I have, I think, one more option day left at work, so I'm probably going to save it for then. Have a nice long weekend with it. So that's a good time for me.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. And Nick, what about you?
It's a day one for me. Just because it's Insomniac and like Spider-Man was one of my favorite superheroes growing up, so it's a shoo-in. It looks like it's a really good game and everything else. But if Insomniac really wants me to pre-order the deluxe edition, I demand Spider-Pig DLC. That's all I need in my life.
Oh my goodness, Spider-Pig.
If I can get Spider-Pig DLC, then I am day one deluxe edition the whole way.
He does whatever Spider-Pig does.
Exactly. But I agree with Juan, though. I feel like watching the combat feels very Arkham, which I'm really okay with because Rocksteady did a fantastic job with that. But the only thing I worry about is I'm not sure if anyone remembers because it's older. Back on 360 with the original Assassin's Creed title, it was basically hit X when someone goes to attack you, hit Y, and that was the complexity of the combat system. That's the only thing I'm worried about is that's going to be overly basic. And worst comes to worst, I'll just crank it on to the hardest difficulty and hope for the best.
Yeah. I mean, I remember, so I think my biggest memories of Spider-Man games of the Activision kind were actually the Spider-Man 2. I think for me was the best one of the group. Spider-Man on the Dreamcast was decent, but lacked a lot of gameplay. It lacked depth, really, is what it did. Like you basically could swing anywhere, and like your web would be in the air, in like thin air. But two got a little bit nicer, and it added a lot. And then, of course, the Doc Ock stuff and that kind of stuff. I didn't really get into the last couple from Activision. But this, I mean, Insomniac, Wanzer, how do you go wrong with Insomniac? So this is going to be a hot game. I'm very excited for it, and that's going to make it tough. September is going to be very tough. It's going to be a tough month for game purchases because we haven't gotten to E3 yet, but I'm almost positive if we're getting a Forza Horizon 4. We're getting it in September. That's typically when they launch. So, that's going to be a tough month for anything else, honestly. So, but you guys, real quick, before we move on to the next topic, do you think this potentially shifts other game release dates?
Not like RDR or Gears would, or not Gears, but God would.
I don't think so. One thing is it won't shift multiplats because most of the multiplats that are landing in September are fairly large IPs. Like it's not going to shift Spyro. It's not going to move. It's not going to move anything because it's exclusive too. So there's still 2 other platforms plus PC that'll be picking up other games, right? So I don't think it'll shift anything. It may change what Sony might push out depending on what lands where, because they still have Dreams and a few other games that are supposed to be 2018 titles that they don't have launch windows or launch dates for. Sorry.
Well, let me ask this. Does that? I mean, I don't think Spyro is one that would move for that, but do you think that might move Crackdown? Because we haven't heard a Crackdown date yet, and they cannot put that into 2019.
I'm still part of the whole conspiracy theory that that Crackdown's going to launch the week after E3. I'm still in that conspiracy theory group that's going to land in June.
Wow.
Because just in the simple fact of that, because it's in a spring launch window, like I can go into GameStop and pre-order it, it's still a spring 2018 title. They've either got to announce they're pushing it into fall, which would be a huge blow up on social media for them, and they really don't need that again in regards to that game. What they need to do with that game is Crackdown either needs to launch in June and they need to show it off really well at E3, or if they're going to push it back, they need to give out like 25 minutes of gameplay that looks really, really crisp, which I think they can do. Show it off and be like, hey, this is coming in August maybe. I don't think September would be. September, October is kind of a weird time frame because of all the stuff that's dropping now, because COD shifting, Spider-Man, everything else. But like, I don't think Spider-Man would affect Crackdown sales exponentially because they're two separate exclusives on two platforms. Technically, it might shift your multi-platformers purchases around, but I still think it would do okay. Technically.
Also, Crackdown's going to be in the Game Pass, so
yeah,
right.
It's got that going for it for
no,
launch.
it does. It absolutely does. You know, you want to just, you know, if you're trying to sell, I guess if you're trying to sell systems, I mean, I love Crackdown. I truly love Crackdown. I am day 0. I'm like day -1. Like, I'm gonna find out how to sneak into Microsoft headquarters and get it early. But if I'm trying to put my console sales up against Spider-Man, I don't know if I can. I don't know if that's a good thing. Here's my other issue with Crackdown launching after E3. What does that do for State of Decay?
Well, State of Decay is in May.
I know,
right.
but you know, you want to give that some legs.
Yeah, well, what I'm thinking is like June, July time frame would make sense because with the whole Game Pass thing, we've kind of talked about it over a tick a couple of times. Is basically what Microsoft wants to do is every 2 months they want to give you a reason to subscribe to Game Pass. So like we had Sea of Thieves in March. April's they did a couple of cool games like City Skylines, et cetera, coming, and then in May is going to be State of Decay, and then you've got June where they don't really have anything. So July for Crackdown, falling on Game Pass, and also the fact that July, we don't really have a huge amount of things going on in July. I think that'd be a really good time for them to drop it. Like, I don't know what state that game is in, because we haven't seen it in forever, but if they showed it off at E3 and then gave it a release date for the next month, I think they'd be pretty golden in that way.
But to my point, I was just saying, as far as it having to compete for, you know, attention or whatever, the fact that it's going to be accessible on the cheap in the same month as whatever really helps it in that, because you're not going to, like, it's going to help protect it from losing out to another title, because people who own both consoles aren't going to have to drop $120 or decide, you know, hey, do I spend $60 on this or do I spend $60 on that, when they can just get one of them in the Game Pass.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. All right. Awesome. All right. Next up, we're gonna quick hit this. Not too much to say. I'm excited for what it could be, but I think the more I looked at this, I didn't understand it till I watched it what it actually is.
Matchwood, this is Paladin. Come in.
Go for Matchwood.
Langley has sprung a leak, and they need us to stick our thumb in it. Brush up on your Spanish. You're headed for Bolivia.
Look, I may need some extra firepower.
Got any ideas?
Ah, yes.
I've got friends in that neighborhood. Call the Ghost.
Yeah, so that's coming tomorrow. Just in time for Multiverse to frickin' talk about it. But Sam Fisher is coming to Ghost Recon, and at first I was like, oh, wait, are we talking about the return of Splinter Cell? But we're not quite there yet. I think that's probably one of the worst kept secrets in the industry right now. And considering how well Ubisoft is doing as a whole, with the games that they're pumping out, quality games they're pumping out, I think that's going to be a big, if it's happening, that's going to be a huge announcement at E3. The question is, are they going to make it? Is this just DLC for Ghost Recon Wildlands? Hell yes, Michael Ironside's back.
Yeah, absolutely. I was at work when the tease went out, and so I saw it and didn't get to hear it because I don't get to have audio most times when I'm working. But I did manage to cheat some audio, and man, I just got chills. Like, I'm listening to him like, damn, it's Sam, and I can't help but be optimistic with all the talk and the rumors and the leaks and everything. One of the things is a marketing deal for this game for MS. So I expect to see something at E3. It's a little bit optimistic. I might end up looking like a little bit of a fool later if it turns out that it's just DLC. But man, I tell you, if we get a Michael Ironside Splinter Cell game back,
Yep,
it's just what I need.
It needs Michael Ironside. We need Dennis Haysbert back.
Yeah. So very excited for that. I've never played Ghost Recon. Never played Wildlands. I probably won't for this. Like, I don't know if I'll pick it up because of the DLC or everything. But yeah, it was good to hear Sam again, and I'm very much looking forward to being right about there being an actual Splinter Cell game.
Yeah, I hope so. And I'm not. I don't give me old man Sam. Give me Sam in Prime.
Yeah, I think it's doable. I mean, the people were talking about how, why would they have him, because he might be getting old for the mocap. You don't have to have the voice do the mocap.
No.
So whatever. But yeah, he's that character, so he needs to be doing that character.
Frankie, interest in Splinter Cell?
Yeah, very. I was talking to Brent the other day about this, actually, because he was pretty disappointed in the whole Predator thing, so I was teasing him like, no, I mean, they got Mike Ironside's voice, and he's just gonna, be in the earpiece for a mission. He's not gonna be in here. You're gonna get his gear. That's it. So, but no, I would fully expect a new Splinter Cell game to come of this. This has to be like some kind of tease and just kind of testing the waters, or at least seeing where people are at with Splinter Cell, because it's been 5 years now, I think, since Blacklist. So I feel like it's time. Yeah. It's time for a new Splinter Cell game.
Yeah, if this is backward compatibility announcement, I'm gonna be pissed. Nick.
No.
Well, I handled a lot of the leaks over at.
I think.
There we go. There we go.
Sam Fisher got him.
All right.
He was about to leak some news, and Sam broke his neck.
So there was the whole data mined thing on Amazon, where a bunch of data miners found a November release date for a Splinter Cell game from Ubisoft. There's Ubisoft teasing this with Wildlands. There's been them relicensing, like paying down and doubling down on the licensing for Splinter Cell, which they wouldn't have had to do for any other reason unless they were making another game. So I think it's I'm going to say an 80% chance that we see Splinter Cell at E3. Ubisoft is doing a lot of work right now on teasing sequels to games and bringing other games back. Like, we've got Division 2, which is going to be at E3. We've got Watch Dogs 3, which was leaked today, quote-unquote, accidentally.
I've been out of the house most of the days. Did that get leaked?
Yeah, Ubisoft accidentally posted a teaser image for Watch Dogs 3 on their site and was instantly pulled down. And quote-unquote accidentally leaked it for 6 hours, long enough for Reddit to go into a frenzy about it and then take it down. But I think a Splinter Cell game is a realistic expectation. And if Microsoft nails down it could be part of that third-party deals we saw earlier in the week. That leak come out in regards to that Microsoft has a bunch of third-party marketing deals locked down. It would be pretty realistic to say that Splinter Cell would be one of those if it was to happen.
Okay. It'd be crazy if it was an actual exclusive. That would set the internet on fire.
Exclusive Splinter Cell game, man.
Yeah. They've done it before. They've done it before.
No, they did before. Like 100%. I've always played Splinter Cell.
I think Ubisoft is beyond that. I think your big AAA third parties are beyond that now. I'm just saying.
Look, you just have to look at Spyro to realize that exclusivity does not matter to most of the major corporations. Right. Activision only. It was leaked out there last month that the only reason that Crash Bandicoot ended up being exclusive to PlayStation first was because they didn't own the audio. They didn't own. I think it had something to do with Naughty Dog owned the audio or something for the original trilogy still, so they ended up working out something that way. But Spyro's a whole different ballgame.
Absolutely. Well, Spyro's been on other platforms past the PS2. It was on Xbox and Xbox 360. Speaking of which, here it is. I wanted to try to transition as fast as possible. I'm cognizant.
Well, there's one more thing to say about Splinter Cell.
Yeah.
When we're talking about that, possibly an exclusive of that, what if it's not exclusive, but it's on Game Pass?
Oh, see, I'm a horrible person. The fact, like, I use Game Pass for Sea of Thieves. I'll probably use it. I've got a year of Game Pass, but if they announce a Splinter Cell game and it is in Game Pass, I still will buy Splinter Cell just because I love that.
Don't. I wouldn't say that. I bought Game Pass for that. I bought Game Pass because I'm poor. I've got 3 kids and a wife and child. And sorry, I didn't mean to get the Xbox. Calm down, everybody. Calm down. I didn't mean to get just the Xbox. Just was the first one I could find.
You're biased.
If it makes anybody Annihilator, if it makes you feel any better, I'll play the PS4 one in a minute. Here, let me see here. That way people don't think, because I swear to God, somebody will do it. The Spyro trilogy is interesting because there are people. So this is one of those mascot fights. Whether Crash is better than Spyro or Spyro is better than Crash. I loved Spyro. I thought Spyro was awesome. It was a great a great character. And it's also been passed around, the publishing place like a pipe. Vivendi had it. Did Activision have it? I can't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah,
Activision had it. Vivendi had it. Traveler's Tales had it. I mean, a bunch of people have had this IP too, and everybody thought that this was going to be another Sony game, but obviously this is something that's been multi-platform before, so it's going to be multi-platform now. So and no, Game Pass does not suck, Annihilator. Just stop. I love you, brother, but stop. So anyway, so Spyro, what do you guys think of Spyro?
I think that the gameplay that I saw looked pretty. Looked like it's going to be a attractive type of game for its type. I've never played any of them, so I don't have a real attachment to the character or anything. It's maybe I'll look into it. I don't know. Like I said, I don't have an attachment, so I'm not thrilled about it. But yeah, no, it looks competently redone. It looks competently remastered and such. So, and it's a trilogy for what, $30-$40? So there's that.
This is true.
I'm excited about it. I love Spyro. I've never played all the games. I've only played through Ripto's Ragers as the second one, so it'll be cool to actually sit down, play through them, get trophies for them. Big trophy fan, so I'm excited about it.
Nice. And Nick, did you?
Well, I'm a horrible Nintendo fanboy from when I was younger, so I played whatever the first one that came out on the GameCube was. So I've never played the original trilogy, so I'll be picking it up day one for sure. And I'll probably, if it's really good, I'll probably double dip on it because I'm a horrible person like that.
My life in a nutshell.
All right. All right. So that's like the quick hits of the news. If we run over, I may have to try some Skype magic. Just because I just know this is almost impossible. So, but.
Yeah, don't worry about it. I've got till 10:45. I even got like my socks on and everything.
Oh, you're the man.
Run out.
Don't tell him. Don't tell him you can. Don't.
No, I'm fine.
Now he knows.
Seriously,
mistake number one.
Well, hold on. Do you see how quick we just went through 3 pieces of news? Don't at me. All right, here we go. So now we're gonna get to our to what we really love to do here, and that is talk about some other games. Talk about the games we love to play, and we're going to do games of the week. And we're gonna start with Juan. Let me see, make sure I've got your game of the week. Your game of the week is actually something that I did not think anybody was playing other than Peter and Nathan. It turns out you and Frankie, so you can actually tell us a little about it. Your game of the week is...
We've been playing Monster Hunter. That's not new.
Yeah, it's A Way Out, and Frankie and I played through this just a couple mornings ago. Finished up. We started a couple last week and finished up in kind of a rush. Like we just started and just played it through, and you can do that. It's not super long, and it's entertaining enough to go. Some real good laughs, some good action. It's heavy on the QTE for anyone who would be really offended by that. But honestly, I didn't take offense to that. It felt like perfectly fine because of the type of gameplay it is. Characters are cool. Story took a real turn. Not gonna try to spoil or anything, but like the end, we had to converse about it for a minute because it was like, yeah. So, but yeah, and there was this one really great kind of moment that happened. Well, there's a lot of organic moments in the game. Like it just lets you do stuff and find stuff. Like when we were playing Connect 4 or balancing on hospital chairs and the whatever. Trying to see
arm wrestling.
Right, arm wrestling. Oh, Jesus. So we arm wrestled for like 3 minutes with that going on. Like, doing it for so long that I'm laughing and losing the arm wrestling because it's so stupid. But anyway, one of my favorite moments though is we were in this one house and we had coerced the couple out, so we have run on the place, and he finds a banjo and then he plays and I pick it up, I'm playing, and he wanders over a piano, starts playing that, and this because we're both playing it and playing it well enough, it starts a cutscene where they do a little jam session with a banjo and the piano, and it just happened organically. It was so great. But yeah, no, totally recommend this. Couch co-op if you can. If you can't, you can do it remotely like we did. Only one person has to own the game. The way it works if you have a friend who doesn't is you invite them and it prompts them to download the demo, which they can then join you with, but they can't start a local game or an online game from that. So that's how someone's... Right, or get achievements, right. But it works seamlessly with that. I've tested the one owner thing, so yeah, definitely highly recommend playing through this game.
Nice. Well, and so I have EA access, so that'll be a I'm sure it's going to come to it at some point, even though it did not. I mean, I get why there was no trial, because if it's only 6 to 8 hours, and the trial's 10 hours.
If it's that, I'd be surprised.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
Well, plus you need a co-op partner. You can't launch the game on your own, so I'd assume that's probably why they did it. There's no trial. But
Gotcha.
Also, 3-4 of us who have the game, so if you ever want to play it, just let us know.
Right.
I do. I need to. So I might make that happen. So cool. Nick, did you play this?
I've got it, but reviews and everything else that I've been doing kind of took precedent. I'm hoping to get into it. Me and Anchor have been talking about playing it for a bit, so might get to it this week maybe. But
yeah, you know what? Anchor doesn't come into the Discord, so you can play with me.
Okay, that's fine.
I'll help you.
Beautiful.
I'll help you. You know what would be great for that? Do they let you stream it?
Yep.
That could be a great ThinkNLG co-stream.
Right.
Yeah, I'm with it.
All right, we'll set that up. All right, next up is Frankie's. Now Frankie always comes with the eccentric stuff, so I like this. Flint Hook. Tell us about Flint Hook.
Yeah, so this game actually came out on PS4 and Xbox One last year, which I think I streamed it. I picked it up on Xbox, so when it came out, streamed it. It's a roguelike platformer. You have like time manipulation mechanics. You can slow down time, and you have this pretty cool grapple hook that you're trying to platform around. And but yeah, it's very tough. And like I said, it's a roguelike, so you die, you lose all your progress in whatever area you're doing. The way it's set up, though, there's a certain amount of levels you have to beat, and you'll get to a boss encounter. If you beat the boss encounter, it'll unlock a new chapter for you. So it's roguelike, I guess, in that sense. But you can continue progressing through the story that way. So you basically get like these different targets, and going through and completing these levels. You're trying to get these little, I don't know what they are, but you feed them to your little compass monster thing. I don't know. It's really goofy. But Yeah, so I picked it up on the Switch, and I've been, I now own this game on all 3 platforms because I love it. It's a fantastic game, but honestly, playing it in handheld mode has probably been the easiest for me. I'm very clumsy, so I'll be playing on the consoles, and I'm uncoordinated, so I make a lot of dumb mistakes, take a lot of damage, die a lot. But surprisingly, playing it in handheld mode on the Switch, I've been doing better than I've ever done before. So I'm probably going to continue just playing it like that because it's working very well somehow. I don't know how. I'm surprised because I hate playing the Switch in handheld mode, but here we are. But yeah, that's what I've been messing around with other than, Monster Hunter. It's a great game. I think this is something you actually would enjoy too. The controls are very tight and it's a lot of fun.
I watched a bit of this after I saw you talk about it, and it kind of does. It kind of does. I love that 8-bit feel too, and I'm a sucker for old retro-looking platforms. So I may have to give this one a look-see. So,
I've only ever heard good things about it.
It's great. The soundtrack is also excellent,
and I love a good soundtrack. You know that.
So,
all right, cool. So that is Flint Hook for the PS4 and Xbox, and probably Steam.
Yep, Steam, Switch. I think it's on everything.
Switch, everything. It is on
your toaster, everything. Literally everything.
Toaster.
Made with Unity. Okay, next up is Nick's game. It's not terribly surprising because it's got blood, gore, and intense and alcohol and stuff. And see, there you go. I got the PS4 trailer. See, I'm redeemed. Go ahead, Nick.
Okay, so I've been playing Far Cry 5 this week because I'm reviewing it for the website. I went into this game with insanely low expectations because I found 4 insanely boring. I found Primal to be even more boring. So I really did not have high expectations with this game, but it has quickly made my top 5 best FPS games of this generation. It's insanely smooth. It's one of the first games where I've seen the handgun actually being one of the most useful weapons. It actually packs a punch, which is a miracle. If you play most FPS games, your sidearm's usually useless, but it packs good punch. Good variety of weapons. The missions are a lot of fun, how they do each region with each one of the family members of the cult that you've got to deal with. It's got a bunch of different missions, so the mission variety keeps it fun, exciting. What's really interesting about this game is if anyone, at the pinnacle for a lot of people is Far Cry 3 with Voss as a villain. With this one, each one of the cult members I found was actually just as good as Voss, if not better. And the main protagonist, actually, and I see Frankie shaking his head there. It's got a lot of interesting side characters. And if you're really into like the cult culture, like I studied a lot of this in high school, so it's really interesting to me how they dissected it and everything. But if you're going into it with the expectation of verifying your political views, you're going to be sadly mistaken because it really doesn't touch on it at all. It's just a really great FPS game, and I think the critical high point for me is the fact I'm just doing the side stuff now. I finished the main part of the game. The fact that you can have a pet bear and a hillbilly with a rocket launcher as your companion is probably one of the greatest experiences I've had so far this year.
Nice. Wait, what was I right about? Worry. Hey, Worry, what's up, brother? What was I right about?
Welcome, Worry.
Apparently, I was right about something. That doesn't
That doesn't happen.
Look, here. I'll pause it here. Look, I got the PlayStation trailer of this. See?
Is WrestleMania over?
It must be. I got the WrestleMania must be over. I got the Xbox version of Spyro. I got the PS4 version of Far Cry. There we go. So
can I just say that Far Cry 3 is extremely overrated?
Yeah, I'm with you with that, actually, for the most part.
I don't understand this like whole thing around Voss. I didn't think he was that interesting.
My problem with it is they had a decent villain with him, and then they kill him off halfway through the game and put a stereotypical villain for the end game, and it made it really bland to finish.
Not to mention the guy you're playing as is just a huge tool.
That's actually kind of one of the problems I have with Far Cry 5 is like Far Cry 3, your guy was a moron, but in Far Cry 5, your guy's a mute. They go back to the don't talk at all.
That's fine.
So you just do fist bumps and handshakes seem to be your communicative form of doing things. So it made me like the character a little more because he wasn't constantly being like, "Whoa, no!" and like
Lisa!
like freaking out all the time. Like it's a decently good game. I would, however, recommend do not pay the full $79 for it. Wait till it goes on sale and then buy the Seasons Pass because the Seasons Pass has a lot of good DLC coming. So it's definitely good for down the road.
Nice.
Silence worked for the Doomslayer. Just saying.
It's true.
Yeah.
So, speaking of Doom,
Very
what's up,
true.
Doomhammer? Nice to see you.
Don't acknowledge him.
Welcome.
Hey,
Don't acknowledge him.
I can white knight Doomhammer.
No, you can't White Knight Doomhammer. He's unlike anyone else in the chat room. Don't do it.
All right, my game of the week. This is why I have not been in parties all week. I am sorry, Nate. I am sorry, Peter. But I have been absolutely friggin' hooked on Wipeout since the VR.
Mm.
Oh my god. What an incredible looking VR game. First off, it tells you right off the bat on some of the tracks, this track will make you sick. I mean, it just outright says you will get motion sickness. Deal with it. And so, they nailed. First off, it's the old Wipeout. So everything that's familiar about the original Wipeout trilogy, HD, Fury, and 2048 are all there. But every track is in VR. Every piece of the game is in VR. Every car is there. Everything, and it's just really crazy. The speed, because VR has to be 60 frames per second, the speed is there. As you're turning your head, you see things around you just like you would. You can look at the cars beside you, and actually there are multiple camera angles, multiple camera styles that it either puts you in the cockpit view, kind of like where the headset focuses on, whether or not focuses in the cockpit, focuses on the body movement of you, or focuses on the track, and it's just nuts. I've been playing it all week. It is just I cannot. Wipeout was one of my favorite of those super futuristic racing games. Like I love those. Going back to games like Cyber Speedway on the Saturn and Quantum Redshift, and then once I did get into PlayStation, I got into Wipeout, and I specifically bought the Omega Collection the day that they announced VR support, and I was not disappointed at all. So
Yeah, as I understand, it's one of the new killer apps, maybe supplanting RE7 as one of the better things to have on the VR.
it's absolutely crazy. I can't stream it because I have to unhook the VR from my receiver. There's an issue with my receiver where I can't pass through the video, and otherwise I would stream what it looks like, just the regular style. But the VR is just I couldn't get over it. So I have been playing that. I will probably do that even more. So all right, we're actually doing okay. We're gonna get to the other side of the bit, and that is, and I haven't made yet I haven't made my little intro video for it yet, but I'm working on it. I'm trying to think of something creative. The segment we call The Backlog is Real. So this is something where we take a game out of our backlog. It could be something that we, stop. It's whatever we stopped playing, why we bought it, what drew us to it, why we stopped playing it, and if we are going to go back to it or not. It can be a game that you do not get back to. It can be a game that you have gotten back to, but it's in your backlog. So once again, we're going to start with. Actually, you know what? I'm going to start with Nick on the off chance that we do run out of time. And his is actually very interesting because I had forgotten about this game. It is an older game, and I hope I got the right one.
Yeah,
no way.
So I actually finished this the other night. Is The Fall, which really blew me away, actually. I bought this game. It was part of, I think it was like one of the Christmas, it was one of those big sales on Xbox. And it was like $2.99, $1.99. I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. So I bought it, and then I forgot about it forever. And then I was looking through my games. I was kind of burnt out on Far Cry because I was trying to get it done for a review really quickly. So I was like, I need an indie to split it up. And I was like, hey, I'll give this one a try. And it's got some really unique gameplay aspects. It's actually got a fairly decent shooting mechanic for an indie game, which really impressed me. The story was also surprisingly deep, had some really interesting concepts and everything else. And overall, just a really fun game. It can be completed in about, I think it's only about an hour and a half you can play it in, but if you don't use a walkthrough, it took me about 4 hours because some of the puzzles made absolutely no sense. But yeah, it's a really fun game, and I recommend if it's on sale, pick it up. It's definitely worth it. If you're a Gamerscore fanatic, it's an easy 1,000. It's just basically completing puzzles and finishing the game. But just an interesting puzzle shooter game concept. It's ID Xbox, so I love it.
Crying baby puzzle.
Well, and it's not just ID Xbox, but in the spirit of multi-platformism, that was a games. What does GOG stand for? I forgot. It's games. Something.
Good old gaming.
Good old
gaming, right? Isn't that where they don't have they strip it of the DRM so that you can it correctly? Yeah. So, all right. So there's that. Nice pick, Nick. Nice. Very nice.
So does that mean The Fall Part 2 is your backlog game?
Yeah, technically. Yeah, I gave this to Mike, and he was like, oh, what's your backlog game? I'm like, oh, The Fall. And then later that night, I was like, I should play this, because I have the first game and the sequel.
Well, there you go. So why did you stop playing it?
I started it. Like, I started the loading screen. I did the first 5 minutes of it the day I bought it. I was like, oh, this is a really cool game and concept. I really can't wait to play this. Then I'd put my kids to bed or whatever, and then my friend hit me up with an invite for whatever game it was, and then I literally forgot about it for 6 months.
That'll do it. All right.
I will tell you, there's a lot of things in the sequel that are very disappointing, in my opinion. The story is excellent. Like, if you're playing this for the story, 2 is great in that aspect, but they changed some things with Arid, like especially the gun combat, and it drives me nuts. I hated it. But there's you do get to play as other characters in this one. The other characters are really cool. So
interesting. I have played it sometime this week then.
Yeah, it's a little bit longer, and there's definitely some more confusing puzzles in this one. So
oh god.
Yeah, story is still excellent. Can't wait for the third one.
All right. Speaking of games I'd never heard of that are a little older, Frankie, it's your turn.
I forget which one I gave you this week, too. Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah. So, yep. So this is a Clay entertainment game. So it's actually very similar to XCOM in the way that you play it. This was one that I had heard about on Giant Bomb, actually. They were, I think it was Austin Walker, the year he was on Game of the Year. Like, this game was still in early access on Steam at that point, and he was talking about like the 70 hours he put into it and how he had all these diagrams of all these levels. You know, as you're watching this trailer, like obviously you could see the kind of grid layout that's very similar to XCOM. But you know, you have all these different super agents, so it has a couple different things you could do. Like if you stun somebody and you put an agent on them, it'll hold them down, so you can go and hack whatever you're trying to do. But it's a really cool futuristic game that I've played for about, I don't know, a mission or two. And just at the time it came out, because I think it was part of one of the PlayStation promotions, because I think right now that's the only console it's available on. But I remember playing like the first mission or so, and then like, okay, this is great, I'll come back to this at some point. I haven't, for whatever reason, gone back to it at all. I'm sure there's probably just been other stuff that's come out that's deterred me from getting back to it. But This is one that I definitely want to get back to at some point. It's kind of like I'm in the mood for one of those games now. So this is actually one I've been scrolling past because I still have it installed. So hopefully one of these days I'll just fire it up and try to get through it.
Yeah, that one looks interesting. I love that kind of turn-based strategy kind of thing, like Master Chalice.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something that I would like to take a look at someday. I just never got around to myself.
Mm-hmm, yeah, the soundtrack's also again very cool. So that's one that I have on my playlist that cycles through, and I'm like, God, I gotta play that game.
I'll have to check out the soundtrack. You know me, I love soundtracks.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next up, Juan.
Yep.
I'm kind of disappointed in this one, but it's
okay. Yeah. So a couple might be. I bought it day one. My wife and I we really like the series. We've back when we were kind of getting together, one of the first things I played with her watching was a replay for me, but her first time through Dead Rising at the Willamette Mall with old OG Frank, and she fell in love with it like I did, and we played through the remaining games, and we were all set for a new Dead Rising, and they pulled a switcheroo on us. We got a new Frank, and he's not really bad, but I like old Frank, and we have a new structure, and they pulled the timers, and I'm one of the weirdos. I know a lot of people are like, oh yeah, no timers. When are they going to pull timers from Dead Rising? Timers need to be pulled out of Dead Rising. I just want to kill zombies. I don't want to have to deal with timers, and it loses all of the tension, all of it, and it didn't feel like Dead Rising, and so I just kind of walked away from it. Something else happened. Something else came out that was more interesting. I was really disappointed with it. I don't think it's a bad game. I think it could have been any zombie game and not been Dead Rising. It's the weakest entry in the whole thing. 3 I liked a lot better because it stayed closer to the formula than this one did. And sometimes when you mess with the formula, you turn people off like fans. The comboing and all that. The vehicles. They didn't replace the missing tension for me. So that is why it will probably be in my backlog for the foreseeable future. I'd have to hit a pretty serious drought to dig this one back up.
Man, I beat it. I did not. I did not get to the Frank Rising DLC yet, but I wanted to. I'm going to. But Peter and I played a lot of this co-op too. Like we went through the Horde mode co-op. That you know what? Maybe we should try that. You, me, and Peter, because the Horde co-op mode is timed.
Yeah, I don't know. There was just something missing in my estimation. Like I don't know. It just part of it was the character. The writing was still kind of funny. The part that I saw, the kind of quips and things, I did like that. But like I said, it shouldn't. If they're going to change Frank, they should have introduced a different character as opposed to retconning him and making him younger. And it just turned me right off. And then again, the timers I thought really made the original games, and so having them removed also turned me off a bit, because then it was like, I mean, it was the argument that I made when I was defending the timers back in the day, is there's only so many different ways they'll allow you to kill zombies. They can only put so many ways to do it in the game, and not all of them are going to be super interesting, and the ones that are going to wear off at some point. And and that's why I can go back and of course I bought the remasters, when they came through for Dead Rising. We played through that and we enjoyed it. Silly story, the tension, the timers, trying to do save as many as we could. I still believe that the first Dead Rising, the very first one in Willamette, is better than 4. So 4 just turned me right off.
Yeah, I don't know why they like. I've never been a fan of the timers. I know, and then that's like I know that's a common view among like more casual people of the series, but people that really love the series love the timers. I don't know why they wouldn't have just made a specific mode where you could play it without timers, or then keep a mode where you have the traditional timer system. Like I don't know why they couldn't have done both for two different styles of players. Like give people options. There wouldn't be anything wrong with that, especially when all the games in the series prior to this had them, and then pulling the whole thing out of it. Like, I agree with you because, like, I've played a little bit of Dead Rising 4, and, like, even with the timers, Dead Rising 2 is still one of my favorite games.
Mm-hmm.
I had to replay it constantly because I'd screw up because of the timer, which was fine, because it gave me a huge amount of replay value for it. And with Dead Rising 4, it just felt like an endless slaughterfest, which is fun to a degree, but with the timers, it felt like it gave your objectives more purpose, and you made you decide, like, gave you the drive to try to complete objectives in a timely fashion, because if you didn't, then they were gone forever.
Well, even going back to the first game, when you're trying to get... I mean, the AI for the survivors in Willamette was not great. And so, like, they're pathing, they get hung up on plants, and you'd have to smash it and then fight off the zombies that they'd attracted. And you know, it was screaming at the TV, you know, as the timer's going down. It was just kind of special. It just there was jank involved there too, but that actually led into the whole tension and the timing and the replays to do things like the 7-day survivor, where you know you get through the whole thing and then you do the kind of infinite mode. You have to play for 14 hours straight. All that was very special. This just felt like it had the name. It didn't really feel very Dead Rising to me.
Yeah,
and that's fair. A lot of people said that. I still love the putting the crafting and then just mowing people down. You know, the over the top gore and some of the over the top comedy I still enjoyed, but I get that. I totally get it. All right, mine very quickly is one I hit, I stopped, I came back to, I stopped again. So you're welcome, GameSpot. It was the only trailer I could find at the time. Sleeping Dogs, better known as the game formerly known as True Crime Streets of New York, which then became Sleeping Dogs, which was out on the PS3 and Xbox 360, which was then remastered for PS4 and Xbox One, and it became the definitive edition. Honestly, great game. I mean, this was for Xbox fans, and Frankie, I know it's not, but this is probably as close to Yakuza as you're gonna get. Mm-hmm. But just really, really followed that true crime. They all call them GTA clones, but this really, if you're gonna be one, this had some great. This actually had a fighting mechanic to it, which I thought was really good. That went beyond just the shooting and there were elements of having to do running and parkour a little bit, not like crazy parkour, but a little bit of traversal and a little bit of fighting and a little bit of things that games like GTA didn't have, and to me just a really good story. But as with all open world style games like this, I can only take so much, and then I lose the desire to play it because something else comes out. And this is one that I hit it every once in a while. Like when I'm just looking for something really different to do, I run back into this. It's a game that I will hopefully finish at one point, but I'm not sure when, and I'm not even sure at what point I'm going to be able to get back to it. But a great game nonetheless. If I know it was a Games with Gold at one point, I think it was a PS Plus game at one point as well. If you see it on sale, I do recommend it, honest to goodness. But it's in my backlog as of right now. So,
yeah, I never played any version of this. I've been going through like open world fatigue for a long time. So, the last one I played before, the last one I finished before I got into Breath of the Wild was GTA 5, and I didn't hardly touch anything outside of The Witcher, which I don't even know why I bought that. But so yeah, I mean, it looks like a great game, but yeah, I never touched this one.
Okay.
I think that this was the last game I beat on 360 before I bought Xbox One, I think.
Ooh. How many hours did it take you to beat?
Now, keeping in mind, back then I was like, God, I would have been like 18, 19, working part-time. So probably, I think it took me like a weekend. So probably about 23 hours, 24 hours to beat, probably, give or take a little. It wasn't insanely long because the great thing about that game is you could skip a lot of the side stuff and just do the main storyline, and you'd progress pretty decently at a decent rate. Now, if you want to do all the side activities too, tack on, I think it's 60 to 80 hours with side stuff, but like 24 hours, 25 hours to complete just your straight playthrough, basically.
Okay. Nice. All right. So those are our backlog games and our games of the week. Thank you, gentlemen. So here's what we're going to do. It's 10:42. I know you've got a bolt, Nick. So if the folks in the chat room, and I'm not going to edit this or anything like that, but if you guys will bear with me a minute, I'm going to drop Nick out, and I'm just going to go ahead and take my best shot at very quickly reconfiguring Juan's and Frankie's windows so that they don't look abnormal, and it's just because that's what's going to happen when the Skype drops out. But Nick, I want to thank you for taking some time with us tonight, and this won't be the last time, I promise. We definitely want you to come back and keep talking games with us, and I look forward to hopefully getting back on the gaming perspective with you.
Oh, for sure. And thanks for having me on. It was great to come on and talk with you guys. Hopefully get on a time when there isn't a WrestleMania event so I can catch Nate Peter.
It's okay. I expect that kind of stuff. And it's okay. It's what it is.
It is.
And you know what? People will watch afterwards, and I'm
Of
okay
course.
with that. So, all right. So, real quick, where can we find you?
Anyone can find me on Twitter at Undead3XVI for medium to hot takes. And you can find me on tickgn.com for a majority of what I write and work on, and YouTube at Undead3XVI. So Undead3XVI, punch in any social media and you'll find me for the most part.
Fantastic.
I'm going to hop on Tinder real quick.
Yes.
Tinder. All right. So, well, thanks very much, man. And of course, we are we consider you guys over at Tick Brethren, and I keep calling us the 3-letter podcast family. TIC, ILP, NLG. Sorry, 4 guys with quarters, you're out. I'm sorry. We love those guys too. But we have a really good and special friendship with you guys over at Tick, and we love that. So
yeah, and we'll keep on building that moving forward as well.
I look forward to that, and we'll see you in the Discord.
Yes, sir.
All right, you go ahead and drop out. Everybody's going to see some weirdness for a second, and then I'm going to very, very quickly try to rock this out. Actually, no, it's gonna. Don't worry.
What if you cut to the retro rec screen? Can you work around while he's doing that?
No, I cannot. So it actually.
Awesome.
I know it's what it is. It's okay. It won't take. It honestly won't take very long to reconfigure. So he's gonna he's already. You know what? It actually isn't that bad actually. So I'm just going to remove these. So, and it doesn't take that long. People get to see. It's not often people get to see how the sausage is made. So just a little backup. But this is why we don't like to do this a lot. This is why, this was kind of a special case, and partially my fault for starting so late.
I totally blame you.
No,
Only you.
You should.
It's always your fault.
Everybody else blames me, so why not?
My car wouldn't start this morning. That was your fault. I spilled water on myself earlier. Your fault.
Of course it is.
Wow,
We might snow tomorrow. Totally Mike's fault.
How is it going to snow tomorrow? It is not going to. Well, it may snow where you guys are.
Yeah, it snowed last night again.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. We've gotten lucky. We've gotten really lucky because the last two storms have really passed us by.
Send them down to us.
No, thank you. Yeah, I don't wish it on you guys either. So
I'm just
I'm
getting
pretty much
really
over
tired of it. Yeah.
All right, I'm going to very quickly redo Juan's because we're going to get to the retro rec.
And I still got the summer rubber on the ST, so it hates the snow even more than I do.
Yeah. So while you're messing around with this, and since Nate's not here, I saw A Quiet Place earlier.
Oh yeah,
that is a great movie. Like I was surprised. It's the first time in a while we've gone to a movie theater where everyone was quiet. Like it felt like everyone who had snacks finished them during all the preview trailers, and then it was just silence during the movie. It was pretty crazy, but that's a great movie. It's very tense. I know Sam was here earlier talking about it, so yeah. So it's well worth your time if you get a chance to go check it out in the theater. Hopefully, if you do, you have a quiet crowd. Otherwise, definitely a great movie to hold off, buy at home, watch it the lights out. It's great. It's just John Krasinski. I think he's a fantastic actor, and you're used to him being like that goofy guy in The Office, but he does a great job, in this kind of creepy horror movie. So very good movie.
It's right up our alley. My wife and I, we watch all those kind of movies. That's the type of movie that we own the most, and so we will definitely see it. I don't know that I trust people where I live to not be retarded in the theater.
Yeah, that's fair.
Where I live, there's a high amount of really stupid people.
Yes,
and
I have that problem too.
Yeah, and like the last time, it wasn't even that kind of movie, and everybody was loud and obnoxious, and I'm not even talking like children. It was like adults. Like it was madness. Yeah. So I don't trust them enough really to spend money on that. I'll probably wait for home. But yeah, it looks like it's going to be something unique and interesting and good. So so yeah, I'm down.
Yeah. There's definitely some big plot holes with some of the stuff in there, but it's easy to overlook it just because of how unique it feels.
Hey, and
plus I'm a fan of Jim, so.
Yes.
I know he's not that character here, but I like that actor quite a bit. So
Jim.
Yeah.
Oh,
from The Office.
John Krasinski. Yeah. I am too. He's like pining for a reboot of The Office. I don't know that I'd be down for that though.
I don't know.
I think because who are you going to do it with? Are you really going to bring? I don't know. You gonna really bring the cast back? What's her name? Who played Pam, is doing another show.
Jenna Fisher.
Thank you.
Fisher.
But she's doing that show, that new show, Broke Up Together or something together, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Are you gonna bring Steve Carell back? Is he gonna want to come back? He's doing method acting now, right? He's doing those serious characters.
I haven't followed.
Who are you bringing back? Or are you gonna
Shroot Farm spinoff.
The Shroot.
Right.
Yeah, but
that would be the best possible outcome.
That would be funny. Shroot Farms, and you just call it Shroot Farms, and it's Dwight and his brother.
That or something, a spinoff that features Oscar and not Stanley.
Kevin.
An Oscar and Kevin.
Oh God.
Would be worthwhile, I think, but
no. You can't use what's his name from The Warehouse because he's doing something else.
No, Daryl.
Daryl. and are you going to get Ricky Gervais? I mean, how? I just don't know how they would do it. I think it's pie in the sky for Krasinski to want it. So, besides, isn't he? Wasn't he? Wasn't he on the on like the not the rumor list, but wasn't he slated to be one of the superheroes?
Never heard.
Did I get that wrong?
No, I forget which one. It might have been Green Lantern that he was trying out for.
I thought he was.
But yeah, there was one I remember seeing his name pop up as a possibility.
Yeah.
I just don't remember who it was.
And I thought it was somebody that was. I thought it was recent too.
Where's Sam? Doesn't Tick cover this stuff?
Where is? Yep. Yeah. Hopefully, well, Direwolf. There he is. Sam, what has he? Has he talked? I know he's talked about it. I can't, man. It's on the tip of my tongue. I know he's either talked about it or he's had some. It was. Oh, I see it. This maybe. I think he wanted to play Mr. Fantastic. There's a picture. There's a picture of him. Hang on. I'm grabbing this picture real quick. This could be a total. It's his Shazam. Thank you. No, Zachary Levi is Shazam. That's what Sam just said. Okay. No, somebody made a fan art of... That's what it is. Somebody made a fan art of him as Mr. Fantastic. Maybe that's it.
Yep. Sam says he did want to play Mr. Fantastic.
I just saw a picture of somebody with, like, who put him in the suit. So... All right.
That'd be cool. I mean, the Fantastic Four obviously needs to be rebooted, but...
No, it doesn't. The Fantastic Four needs to die now.
No, they reboot it with someone else. Put Jim from The Office in there and it'll be fine.
Alright. Alright, so even though Nick's not here, I'm not holding us much longer. Do you guys want to very quickly talk about Sea of Thieves? Or do you want to...
I mean, I can always talk about Sea of Thieves.
I know you can. I mean, Joe Neat did update us about where they are going in the roadmap.
This week we find out more.
Yep. So why don't we table that, and when we actually do find out more, we'll talk about it on next Sunday's show.
Yeah, there hasn't been a whole lot change, and since because everybody's waiting on that. Basically, I will say that I'm still enjoying the game a lot. With parties and with strangers and solo, 18 now, so still grinding away.
Nice.
I will be a pirate legend, however long it takes, because I just want to. I need to do that. So, but yeah, no, we can talk about maybe more when there's more to talk about.
I'm going to totally plug Short Pause and say if you want to hear a pretty cool Sea of Thieves story, Brent had a hilarious one to share from last weekend, because we were going to do the Destiny raid since we were off last week, but that fell through. So I think Bender and I were doing Monster Hunter things, and then Brent ended up playing Sea of Thieves until like 6 in. Nice. So hearing all the stuff that happened to him during that was actually pretty hilarious. So he talks about that at the beginning of our show this week. If you get a chance to listen to it, it's pretty entertaining. It's
really a great game for people who don't have to be told, don't need a story to follow. If you're not sitting down to be entertained, if you're not sitting down to be told a story, it's a fantastic game.
Okay. I mean, I agree with that. I see. I get, and I've been thinking about this a bit more. I don't begrudge anybody who doesn't think there's enough content. I think I said this on Iron Lords last week too. If you don't think there's enough content, okay,
sure.
And that's so, and you're entitled to that, and you don't have to buy the game, or you can buy the game, or you can use Game Pass. Use Game Pass. Game Pass is the perfect way to get the game. And then you find that there's 25 other games in Game Pass you probably never would have thought to play, and you install them, and all of a sudden Game Pass is worth your $10.
Play Shantae.
Yes, I saw Shantae in there, and I thought of you guys both. And it's the Pirate Curse one too. It's not like it's the one you guys are always talking about.
Well, no, I started with the Half Genie Hero, and I actually am one of the few people. A lot of people say that the Pirate's Curse is better. I
You
don't
like
know.
the half curse, the half?
The one thing about Pirate's Curse it has is that it doesn't have a dance mechanic that stops the game action while you change to different things, but I think it's a little less Metroidvania than Half Genie Hero, and of course Half Genie Hero is done in that really nice HD animated style that like almost like a comic book drawing or whatever, as opposed to the pixel art. Not that the pixel art looks bad. But yeah, I don't know that I would agree that it's really worse than Pirate's Curse, but Pirate's Curse is totally worth playing as well.
I think a lot of people were saying too, like Pirate's Curse up until Half Genie Hero was the best one, which I would agree with. But I agree with you. I think Half Genie Hero is the best Shantae game I've played so far. Granted, I've only played through 2.5 of them, but I think Half Genie Hero is still my favorite, probably because it was my first. I mean.
Yep, and the soundtrack for both are good, but the soundtrack for Half Genie Hero is more of a high fidelity sound than trying to do the 8-bit type sound.
Yeah.
And but absolutely Pirate's Curse, totally worth playing on Game Pass. If you have Game Pass and you haven't played it, you definitely should.
Sweet. So that's one. Pirate's Curse is in there. So like I said, I think you'll find 20, 30 games in there that you've never played before. So, it's worth it. So when they, I caution people too, and I can't take credit for being the first one to say this, but it rang completely true. I'm going to remind everybody that GT Sport launched without an offline mode. Okay? Metal Gear Solid 5, Phantom Pain, launched without its multiplayer mode. I'm not saying it's right, but there's a.
Oh wait, you mean Phantom? That was the one that was like tens.
Yes,
10.
and it launched. But it launched without the multiplayer mode that they had talked about.
Isn't the story not even complete? Really? Like, isn't there supposed to be a third chapter or something?
That I can't remember. I'm not going to claim to know that one.
I mean, it's Kojimbles, so
Kojimbles.
Like the Kojimbles
So
worship
sorry.
goes into effect.
So Worrywart's driving home. If he gets, I swear if he gets home in time, I'm going to bring him on and try to rework the things again. He loves when he's on with me because I say shit like Kojima. So and you know what? It was Sam is absolutely correct, and I thought that too. Phantom Pain's scores had the Kojima effect because it was incomplete. But so my point is that there are games that launched without entire modes. You can say what you want about Sea of Thieves, but it launched with everything it was going to launch with. It's not missing an entire game mode, for example. It's not missing the sloop. It's not missing, So I get it. If you don't like the amount of content, then come to it when you're ready, And they know. Ju Neat said specifically, we hear you, we get it. And so
they said they were retooling their timetable for adding stuff and such. So yeah, this is the worst it's going to be. That's one thing everyone needs to remember about Sea of Thieves. That this just like the Division, just like the first run of Destiny, this is the launch is the worst state that game is going to be in.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, and the worst state that it's in isn't a horrible state. With the right people, it's still fun. It's still
solo. It's still fun if you like that type of gameplay. I mean, not every game is for everybody. I mean, like, I found
okay too.
Right, I found Witcher 3 to be boring, right? But the things that other people find boring, I like the sailing, just going from one island to the next, it's chill gameplay. I can do that with anybody and just shoot the shit. I got like me and Brett spent hours just sailing around doing voyages and just talking, just being cool with each other and just being social. And that's part of what the game's about, you know. And you know, so if you're if you're looking for a certain type of game and Sea of Thieves isn't it, cool. But you know, the idea that it's incomplete or not what it was supposed to be, or that's where I have to disagree. But
that's okay. So I totally understand. Rainbow Six Siege, which Sam was talking about, is one for me. I mean, and I didn't buy that at first. I waited for it to go on sale, and they built that game and built that game and built that game and built that game. I think this is where games are. We've pushed for games to be so quickly released that I think this is also one of the things that we as gamers have to get used to. We're not in the 90s anymore. This is just how these games as a service games go.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm getting used to it. I don't necessarily agree with it 100%, but I understand what it is, and I think all said and done, I think Sea of Thieves will be just fine. I think that people are finding what they want out of it, and those that don't, I get it, totally get it. But at least I'll give you this: at least they're trying it. I'm okay if you play it and you decide it doesn't have the content for you. I'm okay with that, because at least you put the time in to give it a shot. If you're talking it down and you haven't installed it and run at least a couple of voyages, your opinion to me is not as valid. Like we had Gamers Know Best last week, or the last 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
He said it.
The Gov.
The Gov. He said it. He wasn't. He got into it. It wasn't for him.
Right.
It was perfectly okay. But he put the time into it. He actually got into it. It's that I'm okay with. It's if you won't touch it and have to shit on it, go play something else. Go play your first person shooters. It's fine. It's perfectly fine. Just leave the people alone who are enjoying it. So I think we said that on Iron Lords last week too. This is one of the things I'm passionate about, and one of the reasons I left Twitter. So anyway, that's my rant on it. So next week we'll talk about the changes that are coming. All right, let's roll.
Just real quick on the games with service thing. Just a last note on that. Just stand by. It's not going away. I don't think single player narrative driven thing, that's not going away either. Because it does sell, and I think that studios want to make that kind of game. That's cool. But additionally, when you look at, if you want to know why games as service aren't going to go away, I mean, because people who don't like them, they like to complain about them, and you're just going to have to deal with it, because GTA 5 became I think it was just recently became the most profitable entertainment product ever.
Yep.
Like, it beats everything. It beats E.T., it beats Titanic, it beats everything. And it's the mother of all games as service games. It gets a huge pass for it. I'm not entirely sure why, but it is the games as a service game right now, and it's setting that bar. It's saying, hey guys, this is where the money is, and everybody's going to go that way. Every publisher is going to get on that train somehow. I'm not going to say that's what they're going to do, but every publisher is going to be a part of this because of that fact. Because it just prints money.
Yep, and Ubisoft knows it, and Rockstar knows it,
Yep.
and to an extent, Microsoft knows it.
Well, yeah, I mean with Halo 5.
Halo 5,
Halo
their
5
rec packs, PUBG.
Halo 5 had made more money than any Halo they've ever had.
Yep.
And Halo 5 is not the like critical darling that I mean when people say what are the great Halos, they say Halo 2, Halo 3, but Halo 5 made them the most money by a not insignificant margin.
Yep. Yeah. And rec packs made them $500 million or something stupid. I remember looking this up a while back, and rec packs made them an insanely ridiculous amount of money.
Yep.
And if you think for a second that that's not coming back in 6, you are sadly mistaken. And if you
Well, that's just it. It's as long as it's done correctly, the games can have those kind of things and not be a bad experience. You know, it all depends on how it's handled. But that's just something I want to say about games. I just felt if we're going to talk about games as a service right now, it's an important thing because I swear it was this week that it was announced or something that the GTA passed everything. Like not a single. Think of the music. Think of album sales. Think entertainment product. Nothing has made more money than that game, and that's crazy talk.
I know, and it's why. Go ahead.
Oh, while we're on the topic, and this is kind of related, but and Sam might be able to maybe go a little more into this because I just saw the headline, but I think Shadow of War actually ditched the whole microtransaction system they had.
They did.
Yeah. So
it cuts both ways. It cuts both ways. But here's the thing: nobody was spending money on it. If you're not spending money on it, I mean, look at the amount. Look at the games that are. Look at go back to Rainbow Six Siege. Not only is Rainbow Six Siege making money for Ubisoft on the microtransaction side, the damn game continues to chart every month. Like it's in the top 20 bought games every month.
Yeah.
They are making a killing over that. The Division's the same way. The Division may not be selling anymore, but people are still playing the heck out of it. Despite everything else going on. I mean, Overwatch made them gobs of money. It made Blizzard a ton of money because people were willing to spend on it. As Sam's pointing out correctly, and by the way, Sam, Sam Tolbert from Tick, as Nick pointed out, he's my go-to for news, by the way, because I don't do Twitter anymore real much. So I lean on him on the Tick website. I am not ashamed to say it. I live my life vicariously through Sam these days. It was a dumb system in an otherwise fantastic game, and it made them no money. So I guarantee you, if nobody buys stuff in Sea of Thieves, they'll dump the microtransactions as fast as they can. That's just how it's going to be. People are spending the money. So, all right. You guys ready for the rec?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Mm-hmm. Nice subtopic, though. It's a shame Nick wasn't here for it, but nice subtopic. All right, so I did this under the impression that of the retro rec you were gonna do, and then I realized later on the retro rec you were actually gonna do. But I said to myself, I don't care. I'm running with this anyway.
Oh, spoilers.
Well, it's not the retro rec that he's doing, but I love this soundtrack anyway. Plus, I did change out the games a little bit. So I felt like I should play it.
Ninja Turtles, huh?
Mm-hmm.
You just finished that, didn't you?
Yeah, first time ever. This past week, played through the whole thing in a singular continue, so that was pretty cool. I'm thinking about trying to, if there's interest, I might do a play video on it.
There's interest. Oh shoot! I apologize, guys. I have not. My fault.
There it is.
Yeah, sorry. Oh, at the end, I'm sorry.
Well, no biggie.
Alright, so that's, though, not, for those of you who are wondering, oh my god, is it Outrun? No, it's not.
Not this week. That's still en route to me.
But it's nonetheless. You ready?
Yep, we're all set. I actually played through this earlier this year, kind of set myself a challenge to finally beat this game, but I thought it also deserved a segment on the Retro Rec. And so we're going to be talking about Battletoads on the Nintendo Entertainment System, the NES. It was released in 1991 for the NES. It was developed by Rare, who were founded in 1985 by the brothers Stamper, Chris and Tim. They were the founders of its predecessor, Ultimate Play the Game. They focused primarily on the NES in their early years, creating hits like Wizard and Warriors, Cobra Triangle, and RCA Pro-Am. It became a prominent second party for Ninty, during which they made Donkey Kong Country, Killer Instinct, GoldenEye 07, of course, Banjo-Kazooie. Actually, no, that was later. In 2002, they were acquired by... well, actually, no, it was Banjo-Kazooie on the 64, Perfect Dark and Conker's Bad Fur Day. In 2002, they were acquired by Microsoft. And there was Cameo, Perfect Dark Zero, and, of course, Viva Pinata, which was one of my favorites of theirs. In 2007, the founders left for other opportunities, after which the focus shifted to avatars and Kinect games. And finally, at this end, they've had Rare Replay and Sea of Thieves, of course.
Is it grabbed by the Ghoulies, them, too?
Yep.
It was, yeah, on the Xbox, that's true. It's on the Rare Replay, too.
Yeah.
Mastered in 1080p.
Right. Published by Trade West, this cartridge. They were founded in 1985. They started out with manufacturing SNK's Alpha Mission arcade cabinets, and also that was followed by Akari Warriors and Victory Road, before shifting to the home market, where they published Battletoads and Double Dragon games in the US and PAL regions. Also, the Iron Man Stuart's Off-Road game, which I loved, and Super Baseball 2020 on SNES. They went defunct in 1994 and changed hands several times until finally kind of vanishing as Trade West Games Holding in 2013. The gameplay here for Battletoads is a single and simultaneous two-player side-scrolling platforming beat-em-up, which is a mouthful, but it's really kind of an interesting tape because it has so many different play styles in it. You have your isometric beat-em-up levels, in which you must fight enemies and avoid hazards like pitfalls. You attack enemies with punches, charges, and weapons, and finish with these exaggerated attack animations, with huge fists or boots or ram's horns when you do a charge. And in a particular stage, you can also form a wrecking ball shape, which was carried over into Rash's cameo in this generation's Killer Instinct game. The side-scrolling platform levels are also varied, but they're not isometric, so they're straight side-scrollers and platforming. And you've got the snake maze, the underwater labyrinth, you've got tower ascensions and descents, including a race through countless platforms falling down to race the rat Spaz to the bottom, which is one of the harder parts of the game, by estimation. You can see that in the playthrough video, which we can plug. But with that, you also have vehicular obstacle courses, including the dreaded Turbo Tunnel, which is a lot of people. That's kind of where they get hung up on it, or considered to be one of the more difficult spots, and it is definitely one of the harder spots. But I don't know if it's the hardest. I think if more people got further in the game, it wouldn't be the go-to difficult level. The Wookiee hole here is one of my favorites for when I'm doing a playthrough, because if you do a couple cool things here, you can really rack up some extra lives, and towards that, getting through on no continues. This was a strategy. But there are 12 stages in all, and 4 mini bosses, and then the final Dark Queen battle. The plot is that in the spacecraft Vulture, Professor T-Bird and the Battletoads are escorting Princess Angelica to her home planet. Pimple and Angelica take a joyride in Pimple's flying car and are abducted by the Dark Queen. Her ship, the Gargantua, is tracked to Ragnarok's world, and the 2 remaining Battletoads, Rash and Zitz, are dropped on the planet by Professor T-Bird to rescue them. And when they defeat the Dark Queen, of course, then she promises her revenge and turns them loose, and everybody goes home and celebrates. In development, the Stamper Brothers created the game in response to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles craze of the 90s. It was pretty much a direct, copy, or not copy, but their spin on that. That was one of the rarest things, was to take something popular and put their own spin on it. To contrast with that and other beat-em-ups of the day, they added the additional mechanics like climbing and racing that you won't find really in those games. Due to the extreme difficulty of the NES version, later ports of the game all went to various measures to tone it down for accessibility, causing some of the levels to be modified or even removed from certain versions. Here you can see where I'm bouncing the crow to get the one-up, and then one of those tactics towards beating the game. Its difficulty was noted by critics to be extremely difficult. The game is included in numerous lists of the hardest games ever, and I can see why. It's pretty unforgiving in certain spots, but it was a really rewarding playthrough to play through this earlier in the year, and it became kind of an addiction for a bit. And I just had to get it done in the one setting and record it then afterwards. It was received mostly positively from critics in its day. Games Ranking has it as a 73%. It was generally praised for its colorful graphics and its whimsical animation style. The varied nature of its gameplay with the different types of stages, like the side-scrolling and the beat-em-up, were also pretty well received. Critics were actually kind of mixed on its difficulty. Some praised it, but others said it required a lot of patience to be able to finish the game. In a negative retrospective on it, Spike ranked the game's ending as one of the sixth biggest letdowns in games history, which might be a little harsh to name it number 6. I mean, it's not a particularly spectacular ending, but it's I think the journey on this one is really more important than the destination, because if you ever set yourself aside the task of getting through it, particularly without using continue, the act of doing so really is what it's about. Almost like the Dark Souls of things that were before Dark Souls. It won 5 categories of the 1991 Nintendo Power Awards, including Best Game on NES for 1991, which is actually kind of crazy when you think about it, because 91 was not a bad year for the NES. I mean, you had things like Tecmo Super Bowl and other pretty big games for the console, and this beat them out according to Nintendo Power. It's pretty readily available. Loose cartridges are listed at $20 on a popular price charting site, which is what I paid for it at a local secondhand shop. Around that, or just a little bit more than that, is what you'd expect to pay me if you were just going to go through eBay. This is that infamous turbo tunnel stage, and it is one of my favorites. I love the music for the stage, the Waka Chicka music, Waka Chicka, Waka Chicka, Waka Chicka, Waka Chicka, Waka Chicka, and it is a pretty good test of memorization and reflex. Also, I found that if I try to do this when I move the console out to the big screen in the living room to try it, it was completely undoable. I just had the response time on the big screen, the 60 that's now in the bedroom, just made this completely impossible. There's no way to keep up with it, and so it was back to the smaller screen to record the playthrough. Because I tried to show my wife, I was like, "Hey, check out this game and watch me play through it," and you'll be like, "Wow, that's a lot of stuff you played through, and it's awesome." And then I tried to run off the first platform and just completely whiffed the jump, and she's like, "Yeah, this is awesome. Good job." But yeah, big fan of this game, especially now that it's in the backlog. But yeah, it's one that now that's in the checked off list. But it's one that I never owned it, but I rented a bunch of times. Friends had it and played the heck out of it. I think part of the things that kept me from beating it actually in the past was trying to do simultaneous 2-player with it, because friendly fire is a thing and you can knock people off of jumps, and it's a hard enough game that if the partner isn't as good as you and they die, it's tough 2-player. I think it's way tougher 2-player than 1-player. Kind of almost Cuphead in that way. And then we get to the zany part here with the really fast walls and it's kind of ridiculous. Yeah, but yeah, it's a fantastic game. If you're gonna build an NES collection, you got to have it in there. and it does give you that feel of achievement when you get through. I can testify now that if you can play through it, even using to continue whatever, yeah, it's a real rewarding feeling. And so I definitely recommend that as one of my retro recommendations if you're going to build a collection around that system.
I am trying to think which. I'm looking it up. I am trying to think which. I know the arcade Battletoads was in Rare Replay, but I thought there was another one.
Oh yeah, this one was too.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Because I remember seeing it. I don't think it was was it? I don't know if it was remastered.
So
no,
So
it
did-
was the original. It was the original gameplay, but I found it tough again because I was playing on the Xbox on that TV that I mentioned, and it's just it's just so tough. If I move that Xbox to the TV with the better response time, then yeah, it's doable. But on the TV I had it on, it was just unplayable with the input lag.
Did you have like a piece of paper or something that you just wrote down the track so you had something to reference? Or is that just all memory?
No, it's just all memory. It's all pattern memorization.
Good.
It's the
grief.
same. It's the same every time.
I get it,
You know.
but man, I'm too old for that. That's excellent.
But yeah, no, I mean that's crazy tough. If you check out the video, which I think did that make it to YouTube or is that?
Yes. Oh yeah.
That might still be on Twitch.
The playthroughs on YouTube, and I might, if you still, because I think you still. There's a bunch of stuff that you've kind of left on your OneDrive for me.
Yeah, it's still there.
I'm damn tempted to reshoot those over to Twitch. I think the Twitch audience. I think our audience on Twitch deserves to see it.
Well, the playthrough took about an hour. I mean, it's nowhere near like speedrunner time or anything like that. I think the playthrough takes a little more than an hour. The turbo tunnel I got through pretty handily. The 7th stage is kind of like the turbo tunnel, but it's not isometric like that. It's up and down with a jet fighter. But it's very similar. It's all pattern memorization, and I must have played that game pretty religiously for just about a month to get from picking it back up and being new at it again to progressing through without using a continue. Doing it with the 5-toed code to start. That was my concession to the difficulty. If you hold down A, B, and select when you hit start, hold down the down D-pad, A, B, and hit start. Then you get five toads to start with. And that was my one concession to the difficulty. I ended up getting through it, and I think you earn. I think I earned like 13 toads as I went through the game, and I came down to the last toad to finish it. So it's that last stage is a real biatch too.
I watched that last stage. You did come down to your last toad and your last like set of. Were you halfway?
I was like, no!
Oh my god! And then you hit her, and it was done.
Yeah, it's fantastic. The last stage is really tough though. It's only got, I think, 2 checkpoints in the last stage, and it's the vertical climb. It's kind of a neat stage too because as you move left and right, the whole thing rotates to simulate like walking around a tower. So yeah, definitely worth a watch. Not to blow my own horn or anything, but if you wanna see how tough that game really is, that's the one. And hopefully, I was thinking about doing something similar now that I know how to beat the TNT game for NES. I think having played both now this year and beaten both those old Nemesis NES games of mine, I think the Battletoads game is not only a little tougher, but a little fairer at its toughness. But that's something I'll probably discuss on the gameplay video.
Nice.
All right. Well, thank you as always. An awesome retro rec. So,
Appreciate it.
I'm holding on to the Outrun version, and then when you get it, I'll replay it.
Yep. No,
I still have the other one with the Sega CD music all ready to go.
Nice.
So.
I've got the Outrun on the way, so that's coming. And I don't normally talk a lot about the the retro games before I do anything on them, but I'm very excited to have Chrysalis coming for the NES. I was really disappointed that none of my homies here had even heard of Chrysalis. That's crazy talk to me.
Not.
I'm hoping someone in the chat or someone watching, can back me up on this. It's a fantastic game. It's a Zelda clone, if you will. It's a kind of a Zelda-like game on the 1990 or 91 on the NES. It's a better Zelda game than Breath of the Wild.
Well, remember too, it was NES. So if it didn't come out on the Genesis, I don't think I knew about it.
Yeah, no, it's It's a fantastic game, and I can't wait to get back into it. I haven't touched that game in decades, so I'm really looking forward to that. But one thing I was thinking about doing, and I'll look for feedback on this on my Twitter from followers or here. I'm thinking about doing something a little different with the retros because I had been doing the recaps, but I don't know, I just wasn't feeling the love for it because it's just kind of repeating the same information. So with the Battletoads playthrough, I'd like to do more of those. I'd like to do more kind of in-depth looks at certain hills. Like, I bought these games, I've recollected them for this purpose, but like, I need to play through River City Ransom.
Mm-hmm.
Because I haven't done that in a long time, and I've done a rec on it, but now I think I want to do a playthrough video too. So I think that's what I'm going to kind of shift to. I also picked up. We're going to do that. I want to do that TMT, the Turtles video. I've got a Ninja Gaiden 2 cartridge here that's itching to be put in the machine because that's a fantastic game, and I'm going to do a retro on that too. But yeah, that's the plan. One of my things going forward is to try to do more of the gameplay like I did with Battletoads 2.
I think that worked. However you want to do it, man. This is your segment. And
I like the idea of doing the playthroughs just because like you have like that kind of conciser version on here, but then like you actually have like that full playthrough to reference to anybody who is interested in seeing more of the game and maybe doesn't want to go out buy the system or play it themselves.
Right.
Just come here and watch it.
Yeah, but yeah, if you want to see me get really frustrated at a certain point in Battletoads in the fire level when I'm bleeding, I'm just hemorrhaging toads at some. It was really frustrating too because, like I said, I played it for about a month before I could say, okay, yes, I'm going to play the. I played it several times to get to where I could play through on a recording without using a continue. That was the goal. And there were times when it was going so well, and then I just blew up in like stage 11, and it just all went to shit. But that 7th stage, I think that's the one that if more people made it to would bypass that one and the 11th one. No, the 10th one would be the ones I think would be more known even than the Turbo Tunnel if more people got to them. So if and it was so crazy because on the actual attempt when I did it on video, the previous one, I had breezed through the 7th level, picked up 2 lives on the way through, didn't lose a toad, but when I was trying to record it for real, I gave up like 5 to 6 toads there, and I was like, oh my god! But yeah, no, it's I really would like to see some feedback on that, so I encourage anyone to check it out if they have any interest at all.
Okay. All right, I think we covered everything.
Yep.
I'm gonna check that game out. There's that SNK collection that just got announced coming out this fall.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's on there. So now that I know about it, I'm gonna look into that when it comes out.
Yep, I'm very interested to see what you think about it. I think it's kind of a cult classic. I think I think it makes. I don't think it was a really huge game in its day. I think it came out late for it, but yeah, no, it's I look forward to your impression on that.
Anything compared to Zelda is good with me.
Yeah, I mean it's got that kind of vibe, like original Zelda vibe.
Yes.
All right. Let's see. We covered everything tonight, it looks like. And we did it in decent time. See, we're under...
Not bad.
No, just under 2 hours. I think this is good for tonight. I want to thank Nick. I know he had to go to work, so we had to... This was usually we can keep our folks on, but he had to dash off to work, and I appreciate him being able to stretch out He was originally supposed to. We were originally supposed to hard stop at 10:30. That just I understand not being able to do 3 hours, but we can't cover everything we cover in an hour. It's just too much, and that would stifle. Honestly, an hour would stifle everybody's opinions and stuff. And I think our fans and people who listen to us, I think they come here for our game talk and our opinions. So it was worth trying to figure out how to very quickly reconfigure everything just to, and I appreciate him giving us an extra 15 minutes. I really do. So thank you, Nick. We'll have you on again. Shout out to him and the entire Tick family, except for Anchorman, who won't come in our Discord.
Yeah, suck it, Anchorman.
That's right. And I want to thank Sam, who's been in our chat room tonight. Sam from Tick. I'm dead serious. If you wanted, that is where I would go to start getting your gaming news, because he is phenomenal, and I love his writing. He, if you are in our Discord, which you are typically in by only invite, if you would like to get an invite to our Discord, hit us up at OG_NL Gaming on Twitter. Hit us up with a DM, and I'll get you in. But right now we're you have to prove yourself to be a good gamer and not nefarious. Which is, I don't know why we have Doomhammer in there, but
that's why Anchorman's not in there.
Right. he's a little right. So anyway, thanks guys for another good show. We'll have Peter and Nathan back next week. Hopefully Peter is enjoying Great Wolf Lodge, and Nathan, who just had to watch WrestleMania over hanging out with his friends tonight. We'll talk to him. We'll talk to him for a week. Don't worry. Anyway, thank you guys in the chat room. As always, we love you. And of course, they're all our friends. Even you, Annihilator. You're our friend too.
Yep.
So, we love you guys, and thank you so much. Gentlemen, have a great week. Of course, I'll see you all. Well. I'll see you all online.
You as well?
Probably see you in a Discord room afterwards. And Worrywart just... I've been having a conversation with Worrywart, who earlier said DM me. Oh yeah, wait till we get. Don't go anywhere, Juan, for a couple of minutes. I gotta fill you in.
Okay.
So
awesome.
Good night, everybody. Have a great week. We will see you next week, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Play on, gamers.
Man. I wasn't kidding. My arm is killing me from vacuuming. That's how I know I'm getting old.
Right? I got a date with my elliptical tomorrow, just to stay alive.
There you go. Stay alive.
Or die. I mean, it's...